ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡು. ಯಾವ್ದು ಯಾವ್ದು? ಅವಮ್ಮ ಕರಿಯಪ್ಪ, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕರಿಯಪ್ಪ. ಸರಿ, ವಾಪಸ್ ಹೋಗಿ
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆರಾಮಾಗಿ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್.
ಸರಿ, ಆಯ್ತು. ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ. ಸರಿ ಸರಿ, ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋದಾ? ಎಲ್ರು ಇದಾರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಕಾಣುತ್ತಾ? ನಮ್ಗೆ ಕಾಣುದಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ? ಕಾಣುದಿಲ್ವಾ? ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ. Hello students, good morning. Well, my name is Professor Jagdisha. It's more of a self-introduction. I'm a retired professor. I was in the Department of Commerce till 2018. And at present, an opportunity has been given to me by the department to speak on the topic, rather the subject, training and development. I hope all of you are able to understand. India is basically a biggest democratic country with the population of almost 140 crores. You know, there are about 210 countries, which includes the developed country, developing countries, and also underdeveloped country. India is one of the developing countries even now. Abdul Kalam was the President of India. When he was the President of India, he was saying in his own book, India Vision 2020, India will become superpower by the time the country crosses 2020. Now we are into 2023. The question arises, why India has not become the superpower? There may be various reasons which I don't want to get into it because it is all politically related issues. I'm not interested on that. But I'm only saying that India is the largest populated country as on today. Earlier, India was the second largest, and as of now, India is being the first largest. The population itself is called the human resources, you can say. The people who are working in the organization, no matter whether they are working in the organized sector or unorganized sector, they are called as labor. Labor is one of the factors of production. Labor is animated factor. Today we are talking about the GDP, the gross domestic product, right? And the contribution of the GDP is being made by various sectors. That includes the primary, the secondary, and tertiary. The total population, as I told you, is 140 crores, of which 57% of the total population are employed either directly or indirectly. Out of 57%, the female constitute 25% and the male is about 75%. The labor force from various sectors is segmented as like this. Agriculture sector, I think 41% of the total working force are working in it. In industry, you can find 24% of the labor force. In service sector, it is about 35%. The laborer, you can say, the labor is one of the factors of production. As I told you, the laborer, well, you can say that they are either working in the organized sector or unorganized sector. The GDP, as of now, we can. I would like to quote maybe 5.6%, 5.8%, something like that. Is being contributed only by the people working in the organization. The people can definitely work provided they are able to sharpen. You know, no person can drive the vehicle without the training. No policeman can get into action without training. And you know, when you talk about other things, you know, the people who are guarding the country, you can call them as the force at Agnipatta. They also require training. Elections are being around the corner, particularly in a state like Karnataka, and the people who are required to conduct elections so systematically must also undergo training periodically. Without training, probably the knowledge and the skill can never be sharpened, and thereby the condition will not be as expected. The training is a part of educational activities, as you know. Why training? Training, if people undergo training, I'm sure they can contribute, they can perform very well in the place where they are working. As I told you just now, a driver, if at all he is not given proper training, I think he may meet an accident. As a result, the bus will be crumbled into pieces, so also the life of the passengers who are traveling on board. The training will definitely advance workers' knowledge and the skill, which are very important for the effective job performance. Precisely, I would say the training is a part of the human resources. In every organization, no matter small, medium, or the big. For example, Infosys, it was a very tiny industry, probably sometime early 80s. As on today, this is a global company, transnational company. Presently, it's able to operate in about almost 76 countries in the world. The labor force, otherwise you can call them as human resources, or the employees will undergo training very periodically. The reason being, they are expected to sharpen their knowledge and the skill, without which performance will be at the grinding halt. Even the teachers who are working in the universities, teachers working in the primary schools, the middle schools, high school, and the PU level, including what we call the technical professional education, they are also required to undergo training. Otherwise, they are at the stumbling block. Tools, instruction activities are being employed by the organization during the course of the training. In fact, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for the organization to provide something in the form of a cushion for the employees to increase their knowledge and sharpen their skill, time and again. Training comprises of three elements, namely the purpose, place, and the time. Whenever the training is conducted, remember, training is a short term and the development is a long term, which I think I will be able to tell you at a later stage. When you talk about the training, training will be designed very carefully for a definite purpose. Why for it is? As I told you just now, the training has to be given for the work, for the employees to conduct election. Conducting systematic election is the main purpose, in which case purpose should be properly decided. When you talk to another example, is Swachh Bharat. Every morning the people belonging to the corporation, the municipalities, the local government, they will come to the home, collect the garbage, whatever. They are also required to undergo training. Today, I think the city like Mysore, Bangalore, many other parts of India, you can find cleanliness because of the people who have been deployed for the purpose. And people who have been deployed for cleanliness, they will be undergoing training very periodically, and therefore conditions of the city like Karnataka, like what you call Mysore, Davangere, including the Tumkur, Udupi, Mangalore, they are definitely up to the mark. As I told you, the very purpose of the training should be properly decided. The place, where do you want to conduct the training? Whether you want to conduct it here probably in Mysore, otherwise elsewhere. That is also to be decided. Many organizations may not have proper places to conduct what you call the training, in which case they may have to go outside. They may have to go to what you call the place like in the hotel and some resort to conduct training so systematically. Time, what should be the time? The training, as I told you, it's only a short term, maybe for about 15 days, a month, not more than that. So, micro level training is to be given, for which the training time should be properly decided by the organization. It is needless to say, employees are the greatest asset. Employees only can contribute significantly towards the GDP of the country. In which case, I think such organization have to give a lot of focus on sharpening the skill and abilities, including the knowledge of such employees. Organizations will be investing, definitely yes, the huge amount of money on the employees for the purpose of training and development. Any organization which invests money on the employees with regard to the training and development, I'm sure they will be able to reap very good benefit. What is that? Number one, cash inflow. Cash inflow in the sense the people who undergo training very systematically will perform the job judiciously. They will not be committing any kind of mistake. Quality will be definitely ensured. The product will be free from any kind of defect. The sales will definitely go up. When sales goes up, I'm sure cash flow will be definitely increased. When cash flow is increased, I'm sure the liquidity position of the organization will also go up. Cash flow lead to more profit, profitability. And finally, it will end up with what you call the productivity. Productivity is the relationship between the input and the output. Probably the effectiveness will be very high, and people will be very much inspired to work in the place where they are drafted. And the quality of the product will also be very high, in which case you will be able to find organizational change. We can say, organization development, organization change, something like that we can definitely see. And today Infosys is going very good thanks to only the training and development, and in many places they have created their own infrastructure. To quote an example, in Mysore, a wonderful state-of-the-art infrastructure facility has been developed by Infosys, which is confined only for conducting training and development. The employees who have been recruited for various positions in Infosys will come over to Mysore, maybe very frequently. They will undergo the training, get their knowledge augmented, get their skill sharpened, increase their behavior, go back to the working place where they are actually deployed. I'm sure at the workplace they will be performing very well. Finally, the cash flow will be increased. The quality of the product will be increased. Productivity will also be increased. In this connection, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that Infosys has never incurred loss. On the contrary, it's making only profit, profit, and profit. That is only because of the fact that employees are treated as human assets. That is more of a human asset, intellectual property. So therefore, they are given more focus on it. If the intellectual property is very good, if the human asset is very good in the organization, there will be no conflict whatsoever. No collective bargaining may not be required. It is more of win-win situation, and thereby organization will be definitely making good at every stage. Well, the organization where training and development is a part and parcel of their routine work, in which case you can say such organization will be able to achieve greater success. As I told you just now, the liquidity position, short-term liquidity, long-term liquidity will be very good. Leverage position will be very good, profitability is very high, return on investment will be very good, and thereby success. Success in the sense it is a sustainability. You will be able to find sustainability. To quote an example, in 1980, probably Infosys chief Mr. Narayan Murthy and his wife Sudha Murthy were working together in Mumbai, especially with Tata. After having worked for some years, the couple went and met, Tata, the owner. They expressed, saying that, sir, we would like to go back to our motherland, particularly Bangalore, and start our own small-scale business. Tata was saying, what is the amount of capital that you are required to invest? They said around rupees 30,000. Only rupees 30,000. Further, they said, we have got around 20,000. Please give us rupees 10,000 in the form of loan. Tata was very kind to sanction rupees 10,000 and using rupees 10,000 in the form of borrowed capital and 20,000 own capital, which was actually the result of the savings of their own. Total put together 30,000. They came to Bangalore. With the support of another 3-4 members, they were able to start one small-scale industry in the name of Infosys, confining itself only to the development of the software. Today, it has become mightier. The turnover is unimaginable. Employees, it is one of the largest recruited company, probably in the country. They hire people not only in India, but also from different parts of the world. The reason being, they are able to enjoy with geocentric. Earlier, it was a local company, small-scale industry. Now, it has become a global company. As such, they have the fragrance of geocentric approach. Sir. Sir, thank you. Very kind of you. Thank you, sir. Really, thank you. Yes, students, look at another. Sorry, gentlemen, I'm very sorry because I have to take some water in between. There was a cough. Therefore, kindly excuse me for this. Training is a process of increasing the knowledge and skill of employee for doing a particular job. As I told you just now, to perform a particular job, you definitely require good skill. Without skill, I think things will be very disordered and such people can never perform. And in case the organization doesn't conduct any training and development, such organization will not grow as expected. No matter whether it is the agriculture related, whether it is the industry, whether it is service sector, including education, probably the training is a must. So therefore, the organization concerned should take note of it. And I've been telling you right from the beginning, the training and development definitely improves the job performance and it changes the behavior also. Look at the elections and the people who have been deployed for election. Elections in Karnataka will be conducted in the month of May, dated 10th of May. Before that, I think lakhs of people will be deployed. Thousands of people will be hired for the purpose. Maybe the teachers, maybe the college teachers, maybe the staff working at the ministerial level in various departments. All of them will be called for training, maybe in 3 different phases. And phase number 1, phase number 2, phase number 3, maybe for a day, maybe for a 2, depending upon the situation. And once they are given training, such people will certainly enjoy confidence to conduct the election dated probably 13th of May without any kind of hassle. In a given situation, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that suppose the training is not given to the people who are required to conduct election. Can you imagine what's going to happen? It's completely disordered. They will not be able to conduct elections so systematically. Everywhere, unnecessary chaos will be developed, and there will be tussle between the voters and the people who have been deployed for the conducting of the election. That should not happen. So that is the reason. And training will not only sharpen the skill, but it will also help you to upgrade the skill. Contemporary skill can also be developed. For example, Agnipath, today we are talking about Agnipath. The very nomenclature is so wonderful. Thanks to the initiative of the central government led by Narendra Modi, the Honorable Prime Minister of India. And today, the Agnivir, they are able to manage any kind of crisis without any kind of problem. Now, when you talk about the history of the training and development, the history of training and development could be traced, especially in the United States. When there was a Second World War, which was broken, remember, there was the necessity of the trained army force, who are required to come and attend to so-called the activities of the World War. And United States labor movement, it was established only to train army force. Even in 1900 also, I think we find some kind of the situation where the employees have been given training to produce necessary goods and services for the sake of the people at large. Mr. S. Chandra, the expert of the management, he was saying that, every organization should consider the employees as human asset. Human asset can never be depreciated. On the other hand, the value of human resources will always be appreciated. As I told you, when I was a teacher, right in the beginning, well, I was not having so much of confidence. As I started gaining experience, well, my level of confidence has also been increased. Well, after completion of 10 years, after completion of 15 years, 20 years, you can understand, you can definitely imagine the level of confidence. It is only because of the fact that the practices makes man perfect. And practice is also part of the training and development. The amount spent by any organization, remember, the large organization, large scale undertaking, the medium sized industry, they are spending a lot of money, including no matter whether manufacturing or the service. They are spending a lot of money. Total profit earned by the company should be devoted only for the training and development. 1% is the total profit. And that's what some organizations are able to create a wonderful infrastructure. As I already stated that Infosys, Wipro, for example, and many organizations, they have created wonderful infrastructure only for the sake of imparting knowledge and the skill. And when you just get into the infrastructure of Infosys and Mysore, it is just super. It's like a heaven. And all kinds of facilities are given. The trainees will come from different parts of the world. They undergo training and sharpen their skill and go back happily. And once they go back happily to the respective places, I'm sure the level of confidence will be always on the higher side, and thereby, the production will be defect free, and the quality will be very high, and interpersonal relationship will be very superb. Profitability will be very high. Productivity will also be increased. You find organizational effectiveness. Quality of work life of the people will also be very good. This is probably another important thing. When people invest money, when the organization spend money on training, they should not consider this as a cost. Rather, it's what they call an investment. Why this investment? Any organization will spend money. As I told you, 1% of the total profit earned should be devoted for the training. The investment made by the organization on various aspects of the training is definitely what I call an asset. It will be an asset. The reason being, if not today, at least in the days to come, in the months to come, in the years to come, they will be able to reap a very good return on investment, or return on investment. And money spent to the extent of maybe 1,000 crores, maybe 100 crores, maybe 1 crore, whatever it is, I'm sure it will be treated as investment. Secondly, it should not be considered as the cost. The reason being, the organization, any organization which spends money on investment, they will be able to return or reap good return on investment. bottom, in the sense from higher level to lower level and vice versa. And the coordination will be very good. The reason being the interpersonal relationship will be very good. The team spirit will be very high. So this is probably another important point. And training is a catalyst in many in man management metrics, especially for cohesiveness. Cohesiveness is a group, more of a group. Togetherness, we can say. Compatibility. Yes, I understand. You also understand. Cooperation. It's all of us will be working for a particular cause. So therefore, it is more of cohesion, cohesiveness, compatibility, and cooperation in any organization. Therefore, such organization will be shining all along. What are the process in training and development? Training can be definitely, yes, you will have to undergo some process. And the important process are number one, assessment. Second one, the motivation. Third one, the design. Fourth one, delivery. And fifth one is the evaluation. When you talk about the first one, identify the need for training and development. How do you go for the assessment is the question. You can go for the assessment of the training and development, for which you need to identify the need for training and development. What is the need for training and development? I told you, the need for training and development relating to election is to conduct election systematically, hassle-free conduct of election. That is the need that I think should be properly visualized. Similarly, when you take up the Swachh Bharat activities, every day the road should be maintained cleanliness is another important point I think is to be remembered. When you talk about the electric vehicle, what is the purpose? What is the what you call the need? Need is to ensure the fact that you must have heard of one important thing: green gas effect, greenhouse gas effect, right? In order to reduce the problem of the emission of the carbon, the government of India has suggested many green initiatives. One such green initiative is the electric vehicle, right? Electric vehicle, it should be moped, it should be cars, otherwise you can say car, even the buses also, the train. Well, you have to find out what is the need. That need should be properly assessed. And this is the very first and foremost important point. Set the specific goals and objectives. What is the specific goals and objectives? For example, when you talk about a vehicle called Nano is the product of Tata. When it was manufactured, it was wonderful. There was a cost effectiveness. Now, after some time, there was some flaw in the machinery itself. Later on, the breakdown, the accident, something like that. The fire was broken. Many vehicles were completely waste. And that kind of situation was also observed with other vehicles also, particularly electric vehicle, maybe two-wheelers, mopeds. You need to identify what are the problem in such vehicle, and you have to rectify the flaw in that particular, automobile, otherwise machinery, something like that. So that is another important point to be remembered. The third important point is you have to decide, right? The training methods, and you have to develop detailed plan. What are the training methods that you have to develop? You have to decide whether it is on the job or off the job. In case on the job or off the job, what kind of the subsystem should be followed? That is also to be decided. I think we shall be able to discuss in detail at a later stage. And when you talk about the detailed plan, when you should be in a position to say what is the amount, you need to prepare a budget for it. You need to identify who are the targeted trainees. Another important point. Where do you conduct the training? Who are the trainers? Whether the trainer will be within, or you need to hire trainers from outside. This is another one. And whether the training should be conducted for about 3 days or 6 days or 10 days or 15 days, that is also to be decided so systematically is another important point. Then having about talking about the methods of training and what we call drawing up the plan for conducting the training and development, you must, as a organization, you must implement the training program. When the training program is implemented, remember, you have to create a very good atmosphere. If at all you fail to create a good atmosphere, I'm sure you will be at this stumbling block. You need to create a good impression in the minds of the trainee and the trainer, such that the requisite knowledge, skill, and attitude should be passed on from one person to another without any impediment. And even when you talk about the fifth one, you can evaluate the output. Output in the sense, after completion of the training, well, it is the responsibility of the organization concerned to obtain the feedback. The feedback from both the trainer and the trainee should be obtained. And any feedback given by the employees or the trainee should be properly evaluated, and that should be analyzed also, keeping in view what you call identifying of the strengths, weakness, opportunities, and challenges. That you have to find out. And any weakness in the present system of the training and development can be rectified based on the feedback to be given by the trainees also. And after completion of the training, the employees concerned who have undergone training will have to go back to their respective places, right? And they start working using the knowledge and the skill which they have gained during the course of the training. They have to apply the skill, they have to apply the principles, they have to apply the procedures for doing every work. If they do it, I'm sure the organization will not have any kind of hassle, no confusion whatsoever. I think this is another important issue that is also to be remembered. What is the purpose of the training and development in any organization? Any organization, for that matter, will definitely conduct training and development because of various objectives, rather purposes. Well, the important purposes are, number one, well, every employees will definitely sharpen their awareness. They will be able to understand, they will be able to keep themselves abreast with the latest procedures, with the latest, what we call, the complexities. They will not be able to, find any kind of problem while addressing the problem during the course of operation. Therefore, the individual level awareness will be definitely very high. Second important point, individual skill. And every employee who undergo training, their level of skill will be definitely increased. When the skill is definitely increased, they will not be committing any kind of mistake, especially at the workplace, is another one. Well, every employee who undergo training, they will be completely enthused to take part in the activities without any kind of problem. The level of confidence will be very high and they will not commit any kind of mistake. When they don't commit any mistake, probably at the workplace, the enthusiasm is definitely visible, is another important point. Attrition rate, the people who leave the organization for some reason or the other, if you take up some organization where employees are not happy, I think such employees will be definitely quitting for even on trivial issues. The organization training very systematically from time to time, I think the level of attrition will also be down, unless otherwise some reason like the death and usual superannuation. For no reason, I think employee will be quitting. If conditions are very good, why people will quit? So the attrition rate will also be down. Well, as I told you, people who have undergone training will be prepared for any kind of challenges. And I already made it very clear, Swachh Bharat, the Green India, and then election. Green India, today we are talking about only the green initiatives everywhere. The level of carbon emission is very high in India. So if the same trend is continued, probably the life will be in danger also. In order to tackle the problem, well, many initiatives, many discussions have been taken up at the global level where our Prime Minister had also taken part. And after he he came back, he said it's the responsibility of the country to embrace various green initiatives. Probably you know many green initiatives have already been in force. One such initiative is the electric vehicles. I know the diesel and the vehicle with the diesel, they were able to produce so much of carbon. And today, I think you can find the electric vehicles here and there, and it's so good. It doesn't create any kind of the pollution. It doesn't cause any kind of pollution, and no sound also being created. As such, I think the conditions are very good. Probably the same trend continues another 20 years down the line. I think India will be able to achieve the expected target. The next important point is probably the future leader can also be developed with the help of training. Training and development will also, you must have heard of one concept probably in the human resource management. What is that? Succession planning and development. Success. Today I'm at the top. Day after tomorrow I will be retiring. And after my retirement, what next is another important point, right? In which case, I think if the proper training is given for the people who are eligible for the higher position, I think they are also able to sharpen the requisite skill and the knowledge, and thereby they can also become what we call the good leaders. So this is, when you talk about the police commissioner, you can say, the deputy police commissioner. Hey, today's deputy police commissioner will become the commissioner for tomorrow. If the deputy police commissioners are given proper training very frequently, I'm sure by the time they are eligible for the upgradation or otherwise vertical mobility or promotion, I'm sure they will be able to perform job very systematically without any chaos. Is another important point. The people who undergo training will have to be promoted. Well, there will be no stagnation, right? It is more of vertical mobility, and they will be able to get promotion also. The reason being, they are fit to work in the organization. They are ready to face any kind of challenge. Is another important point. Well, the organization will grow phenomenally, both not only at the micro level but also at the macro level. The department-wise, the entire organization will perform, they will be able to register splendid performance. So the level of growth will also be very high, is another important point. Any company which conducts training and development will see only prosperity, no perish. Any organization which conducts training and development, they will be able to see only prosperity. But thing is, they must be in a position to conduct training and development dispassionately, without any kind of prejudice. They must be able to conduct it. Is another important point. The next important purpose is the organization which conduct training and development will definitely reduce the defects. In the sense, the poor quality will be phased out. If there are poor quality, the sales will be down. When the sales is down, profit will also be reduced. In other words, such organization will be incurring only losses. In order to overcome such problem, I think if the employees are given proper training, they will be able to produce only the best quality of product. When best quality of product, I'm sure they will be able to, organization concerned will be able to sell in the market so systematically without any problem, and the level of profit will be very high. And so also the productivity. This is another important point. The wastage will also be reduced in the sense, suppose I am not given training, you can say the waste of time, the waste of resources. If I am given training, I will be able to do my job within the time fixed. And I will not be able to allow any kind of wastage of material. Is another important point. And the organization which have given training to the employees, I think the complaints from the customers, complaints from the end users will be very much less. Otherwise, all the time complaints. More the complaints, more will be the problem. For example, the telecommunication, the BSNL, so many problems, right? In which case, the customers or the end users will always speak to the concerned either over phone, otherwise through email, including sending a letter. So, It is the responsibility of the organization to reduce such complaint, and one important measure being adopted by the organization to reduce the complaint is the training and development, is another important point which is to be remembered. The people who have undergone training, right? The people who have undergone training will develop a sense of loyalty to the organization. It's more of loyalty to salt. Belongingness. Sense of belongingness will be very high. If I am given training by the organization again and again, well, I will be very confident. I will not leave the organization. My level of confidence will be very high. The image, I will be able to contribute very good image also for the organization in which I am working. What are the importance of the training and development? If the training is given periodically, I'm sure the human resources can be utilized optimally. No employee can be idle. Underutilization will not be there. Overutilization creates a lot of fatigue. Optimum utilization is the order of the day. When you talk about Infosys, they're able to utilize the human resources very optimally. As such, the turnover will be very high, production will be very good. Then the next important point is the leverage at every stage is very good. Efficiency of the employees will also be on the higher side. Employee morale will be on the higher side. Job satisfaction will be there. As such, you can say the optimum utilization. Suppose training is not given, you find a lot of disorder. Many people will become idle. Many people will not be able to work. If the people are not able to work, in which case I think they become liability for the organization in which they are all working. The second important point, creating highly skilled, motivated and enthusiastic workforce. Yes, as I told you just now, the training or development being conducted by the organization, that will definitely sharpen the knowledge of the employees concerned. It will enable the employees to acquire new knowledge, contemporary knowledge and the skill, in which case the employees will become very highly skilled. Employees who attend to the training will be highly motivated, the inspiration will be very high, enthusiasm level will also be increased stupendously. So more the enthusiasm, I'm sure interpersonal relationship will be very good. No conflict will be observed whatsoever, in which case organizational change can be definitely observed. Increased productivity, I have given so much of explanation on that. I think it's just a repetition. Improve quality of work. Yes, when I talk about the quality of work, the goods produced will be very accurate. The work that you do will be very neat. And people who attend to the work will be able to follow the procedures. And the style of working will be very consistent. And time management will be observed with all concern. The level of standard will also be very good. So benchmark will be definitely set in because of the quality of work. The learning period will also be reduced. See, if at all you are able to learn, if at all you want to learn something, you attend to the training. Maybe you can say off the line. You can say offline training. And the other one is online. Online training will be very effective these days. That's what people are saying. But there is one saying that, no technology, no human being can be substituted by anybody. No teacher can be substituted by any kind of technology, including the present technology that you can see, especially with the IT revolution. So learning period will be definitely reduced. Suppose training is not given, what happened? Well, you will take at least 1 year time to understand the procedure. But don't you think it's all sheer wastage of the time? If the training is given for about 3 days, I'm sure such people can definitely go back and work in the organization with all confidence. As such, learning period will be definitely reduced. Health working environment, yes. Training and development will create a very good healthy environment, working environment. As I told you, interpersonal relationship will be very good. Team spirit will be there. Leadership, we respect the leadership, and we find a very good motivation there. Right? Working environment will also be very stupend, will be increased stupendously. And when there is a good working environment, I'm sure no hassle, no confusion, no chaos, no conflict. Also, you can say you can reduce the cost. How it is? See, if at all you want to spend money on the training, earlier they used to spend a lot of money on the training and development. Today, because of the online and all, you see, the cost of the training can also be proven drastically. But the investment being made on the technology is on the higher side. That is, I think, to be remembered. And health and safety, yes, without training, accident will be very high. Compensation is to be given. Compensation is to be given. Insurance company or whatever, if the accidents are high, the compensation claim will be on the higher side. Now, if the training is given, no accident whatsoever, safety can be provided, and thereby everybody can work in the organization with all concern. The training will also contribute the personal growth of the employees. If I'm given training by the organization, I can be a consultant outside. At the cost of the organization, well, I can undergo training, and outside I can definitely become a consultant. I can extend my consultancy services also on various matter, maybe the tax, maybe what you call the GST, maybe the human resources, maybe the marketing, maybe the finance, something like that, I would say. If the training is given, probably the employee morale will also be increased. Employee morale will certainly be increased. Morale, yes, job satisfaction. If job satisfaction is very good, I'm sure I will have no grumbling. I will come right at 10 o'clock, stay till my work is over. And I will, before I leave the organization, I will take the permission from the officers and then leave. If at all the training is not given, probably you find a lot of disorder, negligence, and the work will not be completed on time. Finally, unnecessary brickbats. This is another important point. And better managerial skill. You undergo training very frequently. I'm sure your managerial skill will also be sharpened. And in the organization, as I told you just now, in Infosys, the workforce, all the workforce will undergo training periodically. If you take up the bank, yes, State Bank of India is also one of the largest public sector banks, probably at the world level. Right? One of the largest sector banks, I would say. In India, it is number one. HDFC is another important, I would say. ICICI is another one. Axis Bank, multinational, yes. Well, all these banks will be sending their employees for training very frequently, in which case I think the working condition will be very good. The organization climate will be enhanced, and the image of the organization will also be very good. Look at SBI, that itself is a brand. Look at what you call DRDO, very good. Indian Institute of Science, very good. Indian Institute of Technology is very good, because the training is a part and parcel of their work, is another important point. And probably the next important point is employee turnover. Yes, there will be a drastic reduction in the employee turnover. The possibility of employees leaving the organization for some reason or the other, right? That is what is called labor turnover. If the training is given to the employees concerned, why will people leave the organization is my question, because they will have greater satisfaction with the work that they are doing. It's another important point. They will be able to train future leaders, right? And future leaders can be definitely trained is another one. Job satisfaction will be very high, and the organization which spends money on the training and development will focus only on the trained employees also. They will be able to attract highly skilled employees. Top recruited companies prefer only the trained employees. Untrained employees will not be hired by any organization, because giving training to a new employee will be always a tougher job. And therefore, most of the organization prefers only the experience these days. If at all, employees want to get very good package is another important point. And wherever the training is there, I'm sure the team leadership will be very good, teamwork will be very good, collaboration will also be on the higher side. Safety will also be provided at every stage. So without safety, it's a problem. Disaster management, for example, the cyclone, right? Cyclone. And when you talk about the cyclone, even what you call the earthquake, it is more of a disaster. Obviously, yes, they will be able to, the organization will be able to provide the safety measure. Without safety measure, probably the employees who have been pressed into auction cannot deliver good goods is another important point to remember. Well, the trained employees also conduct a lot of research and development. When they're able to conduct the research and development, they will be able to add to innovation. But something is innovated, that will become an asset. It will become an intellectual property. As I told you just now, Indian Institute of Science, Indian Institute of Technology, that is IITs, they spend a lot of money on the training and development. And the teachers, the scientists, they conduct a lot of research and development. Research and development leads to innovation. And innovation will be very useful to the society for the sustainable development of the country also. This is probably another important issue that this is about what we call the importance. Now, we need to understand what are the concepts involved in the training. Well, there are so many concepts involved. The important are, number one, job. Teacher, for example, what is that? Teaching itself is a job. Designation may vary, but the work is the teaching. Cleanliness, yes, I'm a part of what we call the Swachh Bharat, Swachh Sarvekshan, whatever, and the work that has been given to me, maybe I have to go to every house, collect the garbage, is the nature of the work. When you talk about the job, the duties and responsibilities will be clearly defined. When duties and responsibilities are defined and very specific, probably, well, the specific duties should be quantified also, which can be measured. Measured in the sense what? Achievable, and it should be, well, measurable also. 7 hours a day, yes, that is measurable. Achievable, so much of work, maybe 500 houses. I should go collect the garbage from 500 houses in a day. Yes, that's the job. Information. Information, this is about something related to facts and figures. Facts and figures. 500 houses, yes, I should report it to my superior. I must have competence. Competence is a very important thing, the knowledge, skill, abilities, the personal attributes. Personal attributes, right? They are definitely very important. Core competency. What do you mean by core competency? Well, I've got competency which has never been possessed by my competitor. This is core competency, right? And this is another one. In other words, it's a skill cannot be replicated by any one of my competitors. Skill is another one. Skill is nothing but a talent or proficiency, a dexterity, which is required to perform a job. What is the knowledge? Knowledge is the cognizance of the fact, truths and principles. Cognizance of the facts, the information, truth and principles. That is very much required, without which probably the procedure can never be applied. Learning. Learning is a process. It enhances the knowledge. It creates a wonderful opportunity for understanding, knowledge and skill. And learning, you can find a relatively permanent change in the behavior. Right? If it is a temporary change in the behavior, it is not to be called as a learning. Remember, another important point, anything illegal. Suppose anybody learns something which is related to illegal. Theft. Suppose you undergo training. relating to how a robbery can be made, I think that is not going to be definitely learning. Learning, you find a permanent change in your behavior, which is very useful for the development of the organization, for the development of the society as well. Continuous learning, yes, learning is not static, rather it's a continuous. When you, for example, education is a learning, and you have to undergo, the education process for about 2 years, more than 3 years, 5 years, depending upon the program developed. Well, the training is another important point. Training, well, is a process where knowledge, skill, and attitude, KSA, knowledge, skill, and attitude will be transmitted from one person to another, particularly by the trainer to the trainee. Education is the process of increasing general knowledge. Right? It's a process of increasing knowledge. It is more of a generic, not specific. Anything, something specific is the training. Anything with something general, I think we can say it's a education. Development, it is in general, it's also in the long-term perspective, and it aims our overall growth of the organization. This is another important point. For example, Deputy Commissioner of Mysore. Deputy Commissioner of Mysore, he is the district magistrate. Correct? He is an IAS officer. He will have to undergo a program called development. And that development, whatever he gains, that will be useful for the long term. It's not particular, and it is for only executives, not for the people who are working at the ground level. This is another important issue to be remembered. On-the-job training is also another important point. And whether we have to work, for example, if I work on a machine, that's on the job. On the job, if I am able to learn something away from the workplace is of the job. There are many methods which I think we are able to understand at a later stage. Orientation, yes, it's more of an introduction given by the organization to the newly recruited organization. It is newly recruited employees will be introduced to the organization. That is what is called orientation or induction. Coaching. Well, you find there is a coacher, right? For example, the cricket. In case of the cricket, yes, the coacher will be appointed. They will be able to coach properly, so that the performance level of the individual will definitely shoot up. This is another important point. Well, probably the last one is vestibular training. Vestibular training. Plaza? Okay, right. We'll continue tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, any feedback, kindly pass it on to the chairperson. Okay, thank you very much. Cut madam.